Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Miami Dolphins. You're going over the 5 biggest challenges they're going to face in the upcoming 2021 season. But before we get into that topic, just a quick question for those who's viewing, especially the Miami fans out there. How many touchdowns do you think Tua will throw in the upcoming season? You think we'll go over 20, over 30, push for 40, or not even come close? Whatever it is, comment down below. And while you're there, comment down below a video idea you'd like to see me do, and I'll see if I can hop on it. But getting straight into it, the first challenge they're going to face is going to, of course, revolve around their quarterback, the most important position on the field, Tua Tagovailoa. What I mean by challenge is the challenge is going to be for Tua is that the Dolphins are going to demand that he must improve and must get better and must be able to be the franchise guy that can lead this team. He doesn't have to be the next Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, but does he need to be the face of the franchise, a guy this team could really invest in, like a Matt Ryan type of career where you just know for the next 10 to 15 years you could count on this guy? I do think Tua needs to show he doesn't have to be the face of the franchise tomorrow or game one, but he just needs to show that the Dolphins, all right, they have a future here with Tua. They just need that type of improvement. You don't want to see him be like, Daniel Jones with the Giants where they're just like, I don't know what we're doing here. You need to at least show improvement and that you can step up to the plate. You got the weapons to do so now. Jaylen Waddle, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Myles Gaskin's going to improve, Mike Gesicki. You got the defense to rely on. And I don't want to say, the Dolphins don't make the playoffs this year, Tua's the bust, but you do have the roster to do so. You went 10-6 last year and you only got better. You really didn't lose that much this year. Everything you lost, I feel like you replaced Devon Godchaux, you replaced him with Jaelan Phillips. Not an exact replacement, nose tackle, edge rusher, but still, there's no huge losses to this team. The Xavien release, that was a Dolphins decision. While I don't think they really replaced him, that was in the front office. They know more than I do, but trust them for that move. So I'm not going to really count it as a huge loss. Like I said, they went 10-6 last year and only got better, especially through the draft. Tua needs to improve, and it's going to be a challenge for him to live up to the expectations of being able to take this Dolphins team to the playoff. But moving on, number 2, big challenge for this Dolphins team is going to be battling injuries. As much as you don't really want to count on someone getting hurt and just assume someone will, in the Dolphins' recent history, they are banged up here or there, and what I mean specifically is their receivers. Devontae Parker, I feel like he's never always healthy. Will Fuller has his history being hurt. Jaylen Waddle was just hurt in college football. Your 3 biggest stars in the receiving corps does have their issues of battling injuries. Luckily for there being 3 of them, I feel like there's a low chance all 3 get hurt, but I also feel like there's a decent chance at the bare minimum 1 gets hurt. Just all 3 of them have a recent past of getting hurt. And Jaylen Waddle, he's never been in the NFL. Maybe he'll have a 15-year career and doesn't get scratched once. I can't predict that. But I'm just saying, in what I've seen very, very recently, recency bias, yes, I'm admitting to that. I do see these guys, I don't know if you saw that, do have a history of getting hurt. Again, not banking on it, but I do think it'll be a challenge for this Dolphins team to be fully healthy from top to bottom, all the way around head to toe. I'm hoping the best for them. I'm not a Dolphins fan, but being from Florida, they are a team I like to see and root for occasionally on any given Sunday, but that will be a challenge to them. And Tua, number 3, is going to be kind of a combined one because I feel like neither are desperate, but the offensive line is going to be a challenge to keep Tua protected, and the run game is going to be a challenge to keep satisfied. Again, I don't think either of those are a big enough challenge to talk about individually. That's why I'm talking about them together. O-line, it wasn't great last year, but I do think they improved, especially drafting Liam Eichenberg, a big tackle. I want to say he's out of Notre Dame. They got him in the 2nd round. I think Notre Dame's where he's from. They might move him to guard as a rookie, but either way, if he gets some reps, if he can eventually become a starter this year and just improve the O-line 1%, you at least got somewhat better. And then in the backfield, Myles Gaskin. I would have liked to see them maybe take a Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris in the draft, but even a 4th rounder, Michael Carter, but Trey Sermon, but Myles Gaskin, if they believe in him, go for it. Again, I don't think he's going to be the next baller, but I do think he's going to improve, and I do think the O-line is going to improve. But week 1, I do still think there's going to be some challenges. Even early on, I think there's going to be some challenge. Tua not having the best pocket presence ever, the feel for the pocket on a weak pocket, and then the run game not being the best ever. I think that's going to be a challenge. Later on, as the season goes on, I think as this team gets more familiar, Tua gets a whole season under his belt. He only played kind of half last year. This team's going to feel better, more confident. Myles Gaskin's going to have a real significant role. He's being handed the rock as the number 1 guy on this team. I think they're going to improve. Liam Eichenberg, once he becomes probably an official starter that they could count on week in and week out. I like this Dolphins team, but at first it's definitely going to be a challenge. Number 4 biggest challenge is going to be their division. Jets, I'm not too worried about them. Maybe in a year or two, but I do think they're a year or two away from really turning things around. They're on the right track, but it's just way too soon, in my opinion. Patriots and Bills being the tough one, obviously, but even you Patriots, you can't count them out either. Between Cam Newton and Mac Jones, someone's going to turn out to be a decent starter, I think. Not a great one, but I think worthy of being a starter, clearly. Backfield, that's really hard to predict. The Patriots have never had this amazing running back yet. They still have a good backfield and receiving backs. Receiving core got better. Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. Defense is one of the best in the league between Dante Hire. They stole Devon Godshaw. They stole Kyle Van Noy. They added Matt Judon. They drafted Christian Barmore. They have Stephon Gilmore if he stays. Jalen Mills, J.C. Jackson, Devin McCourty. It's a strong unit. I mean, it's the Patriots. It's going to be tough for the Dolphins to get past this year. While I think they can, it will be a challenge. And then the Bills, not much to say there. We know how big of a challenge the Bills are going to be. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. They drafted Gregory Rousseau out of Miami, just like the Dolphins drafted Jaelan Phillips, his teammate. They have a decent secondary, Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde. We know who the Bills are. It's going to be a challenge to try and come out of that division on top. Even coming out as a wild card spot will be tough when you're in that relatively tough division. But the last and final challenge is going to be experience. What I mean by this, overall, a lot of these guys on this team are just really young and don't have experience. You know, a lot of these guys might be starters like Javon Holland, Jaelan Phillips, Liam Eichenberg, guys that are big positions, starting safeties, starting pass rushers, starting linemen. They don't have any experience in the NFL. Jaylen Waddle, he's going to be starting receiver. They don't have any experience, and Tua only playing half a season. A lot of this team is really young to just NFL experience, but what I mean by this challenge as a whole is they don't have big game experience. You know, the Dolphins are expected to be a playoff team this year, and if they get there, they don't have any big game or any postseason experience really as a unit. None of these guys have really been to the playoffs as a serious team to make a serious run. You know, Tannehill and the team made it a few years back, but not all these players were there, so a couple. But really, like I said, most of this team is new and has not been in the postseason. So when they get there this year, or if they get there this year, it's something you have to consider. It's going to be a challenge for them to play late in the postseason, late in December, late in January, to try and go up against some of the toughest teams in the NFL. Not saying they can't hold their own, but you saw it last year in the Dolphins' most important game against the Bills. If you won, you got into the playoffs, and they didn't. They got blown out by 30. It was like 56-20 or something like that. And there were a couple things to consider. You know, Tua it was just a bad day for him, and that happens. But I'm just saying, in the postseason, none of these guys have that big game experience in the NFL, and I do think it could be a challenging factor when looking and comparing a postseason matchup. But we'll just have to see how the Dolphins hold their own. You guys tell me, do you agree or disagree with the list? Just go over one more time. Top 5 are going to be Tua. We're gonna have to demand him to get better. That's gonna be a challenge. Injuries, trying to stay healthy is going to be a challenge. O-line and run game improving, that's going to be a challenge. The division being tough, coming out of there, that will be a challenge. Just not having big game experience if they make it to the postseason will be a challenge. But as always, guys, like I said, let me know, do you agree, disagree? And as far as the question of the day goes, where I think Tua will be touchdown-wise, I truly think he's going to be under 30 touchdowns. I think he'll push for 25. I think 25 touchdowns is the right number. 30 is possible, especially having 17 games and improved offense, but I don't think he'll break the 30 threshold this year. You guys tell me, though. As always, and of course, thank you for watching. 2-1.